All right, everybody, are we ready to begin?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Let me go ahead and start this. We'll see if this shows up there. Share my screen. Oh, right. My screen, but not that one. Or is that? No, I don't want to share that screen. I want to change. Right? Okay. Okay. I should be able to. I should have two. Oh man. Yeah, that. Okay.
See your face?
Yeah, but that's not. You do? Okay.
Or I guess you don't have to unclamp shell, you just need to not mirror to the projector.
But I'm not mirroring to the projector.
I think just share your entire screen and then blow up the
Okay. Okay, we'll just give it a try. Okay. So. Do you think that this is full screen? Or just take it into presentation? Okay. It takes a little while. Okay, we'll just make sure that this is coming through. And then if it's showing the right screen. Is the audio coming through okay? Okay.
Yeah, I click that share button. There we go. Now
Okay.
there.
Maybe. Oh, yeah, okay. All righty. Fantastic. Okay, everybody, welcome to our Friday Lunch and Learn. Here at the front side, we don't actually have lunch, so everybody here is stomachs are rumbling, and maybe people following along at home, their stomachs are rumbling too. So hopefully you guys have more lunch than we do. So we're here to talk about microstates, but first let's talk about Ember. Is this something? Oh God. Where did you go, Keynote? Okay. So have you seen code like this before? I am guessing that you have, because what I've got on the screen here, like what this is showing, this is the way. This is the code that we write when we want to manage a Boolean value. Doesn't matter if it's, is a pop-up open, is this particular flag set, whatever. It's this common pattern which we encounter all the time when we want to manage a Boolean value. And we know what a Boolean value is, right? It's this thing that can either be in one of two states. It can either be true or it can either be false. And there it is, right there. That's it. That's a Boolean value. And we use these all the time in making decisions about how to render things to people. And furthermore, we know what the state transitions are between those two states, true and false. There's a finite set of them. And if we have a true value, we can toggle it, and we'll get a false value. Or we can toggle a false value so that it becomes true. We can explicitly set a value to be false. So if we've got true, we can set it to false. And if we set a false value to false, well, it remains false. Or we can explicitly move it from being false to being true. And you can see the true, you set it to true, and it remains true. If you set a false value to true, it transitions to true. And that's it. That's all there is to it. That is absolutely capturing the entirety of what it is to be a Boolean value. Done. Like, we know this, right? So if we have this Boolean value, and we know precisely what the valid set of transitions are, then why on earth are we writing them from scratch every single time? Because that's what we're doing, right? We're pasting in the same boilerplate logic into our components again, and again, and again. And we see this a lot. And you might be thinking, come on, you're just, like, now you're just making trouble. You're just stirring waves, right? Like, and I think you'd be right, but if the story ended with just a Boolean value, then it probably wouldn't be that big of a deal. But of course, Booleans are just the beginning, right? We see the same kind of boilerplate pop up for more complex objects, like, for example, a list. And we see that again, and again, and again. And what about if we want to do something more complex, like managing a list of Booleans, right? My gosh, we're stuck writing that out by hand. And even though, you know, this block of code here is entirely predictable, you probably, if you've written enough Ember applications, you've written something similar to this several times over. And of course, as the complexity of the data structure that you're managing grows, the possibility for error grows as you copy this boilerplate recipes. And so what if instead of writing these state transitions by hand every time and kind of reaching up onto the shelf for our recipe book of state transitions, we could just declare them and compose them. And that's what microstates is about. That's where they come in. They're just tiny containers that manage a single atom of state and provide implicitly the set of well-known actions that guide the transition of that atom from one state to the next. So they work by, as we'll see, yielding into your templates not only the data, but also the actions that transition that data into its next state. And that's a pretty dense sentence right there. So let's actually go to a little demo and to see what this is about. See some microstates in action. So we'll start with the Boolean. And now I do want to cancel this and go over to my other screen here. And so let's see the best way to do this here. Let's take up this over here, and then I'll bring something approaching reasonable. Option, Shift, click with plus sign. So Option, Shift, and then plus sign. Green plus. Ah, over here. Nice. Why wasn't I told about this? I think you've literally given me back 5 years to my life, Rob. Thank you. Oh, yeah? Okay. Okay, so I'm going to show some code. I apologize for the long setup there. We'll fix it up in post.
Color corrected.
Yeah. No. Okay. So, yeah. So we'll go over here. All right, I'm gonna have to fly. I'm gonna have to look at the up at the screen here. I wish I could share my other screen, but so here we have. Here we have nothing. Here we have, as I was saying, a Ember application that has a context menu. What's that? Plus? Oh, okay. Okay. Here we have an Ember application that just has a context menu. Now, this context menu doesn't actually do anything right now. It's just a bunch of dead inputs. It doesn't hide, it doesn't show, it doesn't actually close. Like I'm clicking the crap out of this thing, and it doesn't do anything. So but we can look at this thing and we can say that okay, this is a context menu here. Whether this context menu is showing, that is a Boolean state. So how can we connect a microstate up to this context menu? So we're going to use a Boolean microstate. And what we'll do is we go to application.s here. We can allocate. Here's the HTML for that menu right there. So what we can do is you can see we've got over here, we've just got it open. So if true, then it's showing. So it's just this hard-coded value. We've got this array of yes, no, meh options that we're using to source this right here. And we're eaching over those options and creating a checkbox. And then we have this thing to close it. Now, let's start with this Boolean value here. So we want to be showing this based on some Boolean state. So first thing that we're going to do is we're going to allocate that Boolean value. We'll call it isOpen. And let's start with it saying true. So we can, instead of giving the hard-coded value, we'll just say isOpen. Now this is a variable, isOpen, but now it starts out as true here. And so now when we look at the page, it's not going to render. Unfortunately, I'm probably going to have to get a little bit closer.
Oh, you have a lot.
Yeah, kind of blurry. Tell you what, I'm going to. Okay, yeah. Okay. So now, here we have the menu again. Now that didn't actually accomplish much, right? Because we're not wiring anything up to those buttons. So let's go ahead and wire the toggle action for that Boolean value to this show button right here. So that when we click this show button, it's going to change the value of that Boolean state. So here on that show button, I'm going to say action is open.toggle. Okay. Now, if I rerun that again, it's starts out in the true state, but now if I click that show button, it's actually flipping that Boolean value and changing the class, which is both hiding and showing the menu. So that's pretty nice. We can also, on the close button, we can wire it up. But we don't actually want to toggle it. Whenever you hit close, we want it to be false. So we're just going to explicitly call the set transition on that microstate and set it to false. So now, when I run this, if I close it, it closes. If I toggle it. So this is a toggle, but this is always a close. So now I've got that. And so we can start it so that it's. We'll go ahead and start it closed. So we'll initialize that Boolean value. So now it's not open until I actually show. And you can do some really nice stuff because and connect it to a bunch of different events. So what if we wanted to add a hover effect, for example? Like if I hover onto show, I want to just show it. And then if I hover out, I want to close it. Well, we can do that. I wrote a component for this called pointer events. So it just lets you wire up pointer events to specific actions. So I think that, I can't remember, if on enter equals action is open dot, that's true. Right, so when you enter, now, yeah, see how when I hover in, it shows. So, but if I hover in a second time, it's not a toggle. It's just setting it to true. Now I might want to do something so that if I hover out, I always set it to false. So let's see if I do on exit. Open set false. Okay, so now if I hover in, and I hover out, oh, it might be I hover in, and I hover out. Hover out anywhere on here. So, and then I can close it explicitly. I can also hover in. This still works as a toggle. I can click it, and when I hover out. And so, what I'm hoping to demonstrate here is you've got all these different events. You've got click events, you've got enter events, you've got leave events, but ultimately they're resolving to they imply a particular state for this Boolean value. And so what we want to do is declaratively map state transition to the HTML event, saying when this HTML event happens, we want to trigger a state transition. And it's a well-known state transition. It's just a Boolean value. Let's look at something more complex than a Boolean value. That'll only get you so far. So let's look at this list of options. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and set this to true to initialize it to be open. So in this set of options, right now, we want to be able to make an exclusive choice. So these are just regular old HTML options, but there's a microstate called a select microstate, which basically models a list of choices from a static list of options. So if we were to, what we can do is we can instantiate that here. Left. So we're saying we want these options to be a select of yes, no, no. So we pass our array to the select, And then it behaves a lot like a list. So here, you want to label, every option has a value, and it has an indication of where it's selected. So you can see there's our list again. But we haven't wired everything up. So let's go ahead and wire up the value of the selection to those individual options. So we can say basically check equals option that is selected. And on a click, what we want to do is we want to toggle that option. So now you can see, because we're wiring up the selection state, the actual select microstate is keeping track of which option is selected. And so only one can be selected at a time. Now, if you want to do a multi-select, you can actually pass an option here. And you can say multiple true. Now it'll let you select multiple items. And there's, in order to get the actual selection, we can actually say options.selection, and that will actually contain what is selected. So here we can say yes, no, nah. This is all state that we don't have to track because it's implicit. When you have a select, those actions imply certain things, and we're free to render them in whatever way that I want. We don't have to use checkboxes. We could use radio. We could use any number of them. Let's see, one other thing, I guess you can initialize the selection. Probably not. Actually, yes.
Yeah, I guess you can't.
Yes, they're not tied together. Yeah. Yep. So you're saying multiple. So like here, you can see I'm initializing. And then I think there was one more thing that I wanted to show, but I can't remember what it was. Yeah, I can't remember what it was. But that's pretty much it. There are microstates for numbers, lists, booleans. I think there's an object microstate, so you can do key value stuff, and the documentation is all there. But that's the code demo. Is there any questions about the code demo? And if there's anyone looking online, I don't know if there's anyone following along.
So there's boolean, select, list.
Yep.
You said
Boolean, number, select, list, object.
list includes the order of the list.
Yes.
As part of the state.
Yeah.
Are there things such as sort?
I've considered it. So sort might be a state transition on a list, or it might be an entity of itself. I'm not sure.
Like, I know you have select. You make like a list of booleans and
Yes. So you could pass in. You could take that is open and pass it into a list.
then do like several. Like, what if you wanted to make your array? Like you did list, boolean, boolean, boolean. Like you name items in the list, or is it just a collection of elements?
And I name items in a list.
So like, could you manually construct this and say like,
I can make this is a list
yes, boolean, no, boolean, no.
like this. Boolean here. Oh, what you would want? Do you want it to be a microstate or no?
Yeah, so I'm asking is like, would you construct the select microstate using the list?
Yes. Yeah. So I could say list. Sorry, Boolean. But I would really want to say object, and then you would want to say hash name Looks like Amy says yes, and like it's selected. We'll do that.
I have another question.
Yep.
So in the doing let is open, boolean true, have all of this state that depends on the value of is open.
Right.
So as we've learned in other cases, sometimes other parts of the DOM trigger reuse. So is it possible that even if you're not refreshing, because let is open is hard coded to true, like if Ember decides to like recompute a bunch of stuff, can you reset all your state back to boolean is true?
I mean, that might happen, but I don't think it shouldn't. So basically what's saying is, what Chris is asking is, you've got the Boolean value is computed off of true, so that's the only input to that Boolean value. And so what he's saying is, what happens if Ember decides to re-render this for whatever reason? Are you going to lose what transient state the current state? That's actually, like, I have not checked that Ember gives you those guarantees. I'd say it really kind of sucks if it doesn't. But other people might have different opinions, like wildly different. I haven't encountered that. Yeah. So that's. I just want to make sure if there's any further questions about the code, and if is there anyone on the Hangout on air who might have any questions? No. Okay. Yeah, we'll really do that one out. Okay, so let's go ahead and okay. So that was the code, and a very reasonable thing for you to be asking yourself right now is like, whoa, is this doing too much in my templates? Is this trying to put too much logic in my templates? Because I think that there's been a lot of conversation, good conversation in the community about what's the right line to say about too much logic in the templates, too little, and people have different opinions about it. And I think this splits the difference pretty well because what you're doing when you use a microstate is you're not deriving any new data. You can use Ember composable helpers for that. You can use computed properties that are that. What you're doing is you're declaring that this data exists. And then once you declare that it exists, you're saying, what are the implications of the HTML events on this data? And that's it. It's a mapping the HTML event to the data transition, and then letting somebody else handle shuffling the bits around. So it's the same thing that we were doing before. It's just not in an ad hoc fashion. So you can see, here's the way that we would have written that action before. And now it's very clear. We've actually even gotten rid of a string. We're like holding on to this JavaScript value. And so instead of the component or the controller owning the action, the microstate itself owns the action. In other words, the datum that is going to be acted upon holds the action. And that's the big difference. And it's not a big one. It's about transitioning, not data, not computing new data. And so that's it. There's the repo is on GitHub at Ember Microstates. The examples that I showed in this are in this repo here, and if you go to Microstates, there's a nice demo of kind of every single one and what you can do. The number one is my favorite. So, add and drive numbers. So that's it. What's that? The README? Okay. So let me pull up the README. So let's see. Okay. Yeah. So there's an API reference of all the microstates and all the things you can do with them.
So in Boolean, well, okay, I guess really in any of these, let's see. Boolean receive only true or false primitives, or it can receive a variable value.
It will force it.
So if I have a component that takes like a function, right, it could be true or false. Then, depending if I need to render, can I say like it receives some information about like is true.
Mm-hmm.
There's a property called is true. Can I say like Boolean is true?
Yeah.
Map it.
Yeah. You can take that Boolean, that is true value, and put it in a Boolean value.
Then if I toggle that Boolean, am I
Yeah,
essentially
we could
doing
like
two-way data binding?
No. It will not change the value of the upstream. Okay. So it is data down. So the question is, if I have some component property in my template, because we were hard coding.
Yeah.
Boolean. We've got some data that's flowing down, and I pass it into the Boolean constructor, like the microstate constructor. Will it, and then I toggle Boolean, will it change the value of the upstream? And the answer is no. It only represents, so the transformations only happen within the context of that one microstate. And so if you change the Boolean upstream, it will actually blow away whatever state you have inside the microstate, it will blow away and then it'll be the starting point. So yeah, so there's obviously a lot more than I showed. There's the API, and then there's a little demo of all the different microstates. So you can see here's the Boolean one. Here's like a list microstate. So I can say like and I can get rid of this one. I can pop off the top. Off the top. Pretty silly. But then, yeah, so like here's, you can see the number. It's kind of like, and then we demonstrated a single select. Multi-select has a list of its selections, the list. And then object is a little bit weird too. You can actually, it represents an object with 3 value pairs. So I can put the year on there, I can take it away. So adding a property, put will overwrite a property. So put transition, yeah, it's a new microstate that has the overwrite. So let's see so in add actually it's basically, see how it's calling assign. Okay. See how we're saying assign speed equals fast, suspension equals stiff. Hopefully we got those are good car attributes. I'm pretty sure that this example arose from you being involved some way, Rob.
So can you refresh that? I just want to see it. I didn't see the object. So if you do put, like
Right.
there's no year property, or
Yeah. So this really should be assigned property. So you're assigning multiple properties.
okay. So if you did like put now if you did like put and you had an input or something with like 1968,
Yeah.
so it'll add the property if it doesn't exist. Otherwise, it will update things.
Yeah. So it's what we would know of as set.
Yeah.
But it turns out we actually had set, but it turns out set is a good word for replacing the whole series. It's a little bit different. So yeah, there's a bunch of live demos, and go for them to use.
Are you going to trademark the term data down actions now?
Actions now.
What's going on?
Do we want the action?
Sounds like it should be a PBS show.
Data down.
Yeah, like actions now. That's coming up after front line.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions? All right, that's it.
What about, sorry, quick question. What about pointer events? Is
Oh
that
yeah, if you
something-
don't publish that as now, I'll be so sad.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really handy. Actually, like you should be able to have like I almost want a component called on event. It just takes a list of events and has one for like when that event happened inside this component, fire this action, then that event happened outside this component, fire that action.
With the pointer events and events, or is it just the pointer?
I'll show you this. Like
Like it definitely needs to be like outside of the component.
this is literally there. It is right there.
Very simple.
But it's a super handy component.
Yeah.
And it works really, really well. It's super composable. Alrighty. That's it. So we'll shut it down. Stop broadcast. Thanks, everybody.